Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 45 of the What Is She podcast, where Alana and I are going to be absolutely breaking down and freaking out and trying to make sense of the insanity, the incredible, the immense lore drops that we got for Critical Role Campaign 2 episode 136. There is a whole lot to unpack in this episode. Oh my goodness. Initial thoughts of this episode, Alana. For me, this episode might be top 10 for me, just with the sheer amount of lore drops and like awesome like moments of like different realizations, different things connecting. This is one of my more favorite episodes. What do you think as an overall?
Yeah, it was incredibly enjoyable. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the small moments that happened were like kind of classic character relation stuff. Like even little
Yeah,
small things with Ford and Beth were just so enjoyable.
yeah,
And you're right, the amount of lore we got, the amount of kind of backstory
yeah,
tie-in lore that we got, and then incredible kind of maybe theories coming forward that we like, and just
yep.
good combat. It was
Mm-hmm.
it was so much fun. I agree. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was for
this one's.
what like even though it's a continuation of that, tracking down an A, or
Mm-hmm.
they're just going through the dungeon. It was excellent.
Oh yeah,
It felt like the positive, even though it ended badly. Like it's
yeah,
not great. It's not a great
yeah.
position. It reminded me of like the opposite feeling I had of when they were in the King's Cage,
Mm,
of going through that dungeon and like the weeping angels and
yeah,
Obard. And it was just like, no, I don't
yeah.
like
That's
it.
like a
This
similar
is
anxiety.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is the opposite of that. I feel where it's like, oh man, I'm having so much fun in this place.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah, no,
bad.
I
It's all
definitely felt that too. Um, it's still talking about like overall feelings and stuff because I wasn't expecting, like a confrontation this episode. So when they were like nearing the location where they were going, I was like, holy, it like put into perspective,
yeah.
like, oh my God, like this is it. Like I thought we had more time, but no, it's happening now.
Yeah.
This is it. So yeah, a lot of anxiety this episode, but a lot of fun. Yeah, this is just overall really good. But we will be breaking those things down as we go, starting with
In
one of the
chronological
bigger,
order.
yes, in chronological order because we never jump ahead. We always try to stay on track just to make it easier for you guys. It can be hard to follow if we're jumping around. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, we
Keep
definitely
it in a
don't
nice,
do that.
concise
Yeah.
order of events.
Yep. We have very organized notes where we know exactly what to
I
talk
actually
about. So
do. I
I still
actually
don't.
do.
I still don't.
So I rewatched the first half again
Mm,
last night. I watched it on 2 times speed just to get it in.
yeah.
But I rewatched it, so my notes are like the most pristine and the most detailed they've ever been. So I'm excited to talk
Dang.
about this.
But yeah, so we can start off with the first big reveal, and something that we had kind of already knew is that Bo and Caleb are now officially gaining powers, gaining special abilities.
Yeah.
I believe Truesight is
Mhm.
one of them, the first one, since they were
Mhm.
able to see in the dark. They were able to see through Ford's Mask of Many Faces, as
Yeah.
well
So
as what were the other ones? They're able to uh,
telepathy.
telepathy. Yep, that's the
So
big
that's the
one.
thing. That was the conversation they had, because they're not sure if the true sight and dark vision were separate. I'm not
Mm.
sure.
Hmm.
Didn't they say that? Wasn't it a little bit like uh so I'm just trying to bring up true sight here. Um
Oh yeah, because they,
but
they
it's
might be like two different
oh
types
yeah,
of
no. True
vision.
sight does include dark vision. So
Oh, gotcha,
um
gotcha.
yeah, so let's just have a quick look at true sight while we're here. Why don't we? Um so there, yeah, because there is that kind of idea that they might have another
Ability.
power that they haven't
Yeah.
activated yet. So yeah, so a monster with true sight can, out of a specific range, see in normal and magical darkness, See invisible creatures and objects, automatically detect visual illusions and succeed on saving throws against them, and perceive the original form of a shape changer or a creature that is transformed by magic. Furthermore, the monster can see into the ethereal plane within the same range. So whether or not it's like exactly Truesight or if it's
Yeah,
reminiscent of Truesight, I guess we can figure out that the dark vision's probably coming from that, and then the telepathy is
probably, yeah.
another thing, and so then there's something else maybe
Likely a
that I
third,
haven't.
yeah. But what
Mm,
we have to worry about is while it's like nice, like, oh, we have these super cool, useful abilities, but at some point, what if that turns to Lucian being able to control them? Or, they
yeah,
become a hive
absolutely.
mind where they can control each other's actions, or, they just become
Yeah.
further connected.
Oh man, yeah, it's concerning. But yeah, it's because they got kind of really excited by it, but
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was. I think maybe Jess was like saying this is really cool or this is really great, and
Yeah.
Caduceus is like,
Like,
no, it's
no, this
not.
is
This is
bad,
not
yeah.
good. This
Yeah.
is bad.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it just means that their connection to the city is tangible. Their connection to
That
the
much
city,
stronger.
yeah, and it doesn't seem good. It doesn't bode well.
It
I think.
it doesn't. Um,
Um,
and like you
it
said,
does mean that humans can see the dark at least, but at the same time,
yeah, hey, it's a trade off. You get to see in the dark by sacrificing your own free will.
also,
It's that's what you got to do. What you got to do. Dark vision is
yeah,
OP. It needs a good trade off. But anyways, we kind of already assumed that they were going to gain some special powers, but now it's
yeah.
at least now we know. And there's the whole telepathy thing. But I think the big thing to come out of this scene is one of the first big reveals of this episode, and that is that Sprinkle has been the traveler this whole fucking time.
I can't with this
Oh
revelation.
my god. It's so good. I
Oh,
I think we had like talked about it before, and like it's like popped up here and there, but it's like nah,
yeah.
like
Or it's
no.
been like he's been in there for a moment or something. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it wasn't that he or like maybe even like or maybe he replaced him at one point or he keeps
yeah.
replacing Sprinkle. It wasn't that he was it from the beginning.
Oh my
Uh
god.
I would love to know from Matthew Mercer how if that's been the case this entire time or
Hmm.
if that was like something he decided later. But I
Yeah.
did see a really good point in our Discord last night and I can't remember who brought it up, but it was that Jester got Sprinkle right after the not the Tomb Takers, after the Iron Shepherds incident. So when she got taken
Oh.
and she like was saying, "Where were you,
Yeah.
traveler? Like, why did you leave me?" So it's almost like this
Oh.
was his response to that, to be with her always. Um,
That's pretty good.
I yeah, no, I mean, we were chatting like in the Discord when this happened, and it was just a slew of what, and gibberish
Yeah.
because blew me away.
It was
I'm
so good.
still reeling.
There were so many because this was last night's episode was the episode that I paid the most attention to the Discord.
Yeah,
Leah was the one.
it was Leah. Yes.
Uh, um, but there were so many moments in this episode where the entire Discord chat was just like, "Wait, what? Wait,
Yeah,
huh? No."
this is why I had to
Yeah,
rewatch the
yeah,
episode.
yeah. I was too invested in the reactions of the Discord chat.
Yeah,
It was really good.
yeah, no, that's exciting. That's really cool. I
Yeah,
like that. It super neatly clears up Sprinkle and
it
why
does.
he's an issue
It
and
does.
um
But my favorite part is that after the reveal, uh, I think this was the most affectionate that we have seen Jester towards Sprinkle in the entire
yeah,
time that that she's had him. Uh
yeah,
thought that was pretty funny. Because even
um
like when the scene changed, like she was still like pantomiming like petting Sprinkle. It was like like 20 minutes later, and she was still
yeah.
like pretending to pet Sprinkle. Like
It's just funny thinking back to everything that's happened to that
yeah, I know.
episode. It's always like
So good.
I like the concept that it seems to be he was there physically, like he was experiencing all
Yeah.
those things. So, like almost being drowned, almost being
Yeah.
burnt, getting bathed by Yasha. Like,
Oh
um,
man.
I do like that a little bit of, I don't know, maybe the traveler getting a few licks in.
Yeah.
But no, oh, so good, so good.
Yeah. Definitely one of my favorite parts of the episode. But the party ended up continuing
Yeah,
following this mysterious river of water. Had a sort of
yeah,
a salty taste to it because Ford just has to
that,
taste everything apparently.
yeah,
Apparently Ford has to. Yep. And
yeah. So what were you
initially,
thinking? What were you thinking about the water? Because I was on Caduceus's train, thinking this is like melt water or something. Like,
I was thinking it was either like maybe like a glacier that had just like you know been inside Aor like when it crashed and stuff and it was just melting. I was also thinking that I think Ford brought up the fact that it could have just be like an aqueduct system and it was just
yeah,
broken and that's what it was. That's I didn't even think that it was coming from an actual source. Not to
source.
not to
Yeah.
jump ahead, but yeah,
No,
I
oh,
I
no, we're good.
I definitely just assumed that it was just aqueduct,
Yeah,
or I was actually on board with the whole glacier thing, and then maybe there was like a river of lava somewhere that was like melting this glacier, or something was going
yeah,
on
that's
where
yeah,
it was
and
causing
I
that.
also didn't think it was going to be a big deal. I thought it
Yeah,
was just
no,
environment,
yeah,
environmental.
part of the
Uh,
part of the terrain. But
yeah, but I
I
do love.
did think that the noises that they heard, like the dog barking, all that stuff, I did actually think that they got ahead of Lucian and Kree, and then there was like a
Mm,
scuffle going on. But then Matt was
yeah,
like,
it
"No,
was
it doesn't sound like a fight. It's more like a hunting thing." I was like, "Oh, dang."
frustrating, frustrating that they didn't quite get ahead. But I think no, I'm not jumping ahead.
Yep,
So
yep.
we'll
We
get to
don't
that.
jump ahead here.
Um, but I did love just as they kind of finished that whole conversation with Sprinkle, that whole conversation,
Yeah,
and then moving on. Once again, Caleb kind of talking to Bo, saying, let's keep each other in check, like
yeah,
we're doing this. And I love Travis in that scene because he loves that stuff. It
yeah,
seems of not so much turning on the party, but the idea of like if things go down, we'll
yeah,
take care of it.
yeah.
Because he was like, go back and watch that scene with Travis. He's like loving it. It's just so much fun to see how much they
That
get
must
into
have
each
been
other's
that
stories.
must have been one of those scenes that I missed because I have no recollection of that
Oh
happening.
no! But it was just
Absolutely
like
zero.
because once they figured out they could talk to each other in the heads, which also was an incredible scene,
Oh
like
yeah,
with like Yasha
yeah,
and Vet.
and Beth
Uh,
doing the message. Yeah,
yeah. Um, so that entire scene was incredible. Yeah, as they were leaving, Caleb was like, I sent a message to Bo saying like, all right, well, we'll keep each other in check if we feel anything bad's happening, let the party know. And yeah, Travis is just like, yeah,
hell yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I'm here. I love party conflict and betrayal and all that stuff. It's just
yeah,
it's the angst.
same,
It's the angst I want
same.
and need and need.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a while.
It has.
Um,
It has. But
oh, it was
following this river, they assume that it's in the direction they want to. They totally skipped past, B through 6. They went straight to B9 since that's where they assumed they needed to go. And they came across an interesting room. A
yeah.
research chamber, laboratory, something called the T-Doc project.
Mm,
I believe that's where we
yeah.
were, or we
Well,
that's
so
that's
it
the next
was,
level of it.
yeah, it was, uh, yeah, they assumed this was the T doc, which they had to get in with the bracelets. Um,
Yes.
but this was exciting.
This
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 was
this this was a big room. This was big for Essek and Caleb because we learned
yeah,
that was there there were journals that Caleb was
yes.
able to decipher
Yeah.
and
So there were notebooks and there were scrolls and there were
yeah,
information and yeah, it pretty much straight up had a beacon in it.
yeah, yep,
But it was talking about the primal artifact and like its unlimitless, unlimitless. That's not a word. Unlimited potential
Yep.
and like unspent energy, and it's yeah, that would have been great by itself, but then we get this machine that Matt describes, this temporal machine.
Yeah.
It's a time travel machine.
It's essentially what it is. Yeah, it's time travel. But
Um,
the very beginnings of it, the
yes.
initial
Yeah.
theories and prototypes. But
Yeah.
they've got it. They've got it now. And how poetic. Because, obviously Shadow gas to the day we die. How poetic is it that the two magics needed to perform this time travel is transmutation and dunamancy? Like, come on. It
Like,
doesn't get any more
oh,
obvious
fucking
than that.
plan.
It just doesn't. But then this is interesting because the idea of Echo Knights. So we have the Echo Knights, and
Yes.
Caleb has the ability to do that sort of magic where he creates like an echo version of himself.
Yeah.
We also know that the way that this time travel works is that you leave an echo of yourself behind when you
Yes.
jump forward or backwards, or I'm not sure still how it works. So does that mean that I think we probably actually talked about this before, and maybe it's been
So
confirmed. Does that mean then like the Echo Knights, when they create their echoes, that is like them in a different timeline, like being pulled into this one, and that's
yeah,
how they're
so
able to create that?
the way the Echo Knights work and the way they're kind of described is when you create this second body to assist you, or at least that spell, it's pulling a potential timeline that went nowhere from your past. It's pulling
Gotcha.
that kind of potential energy into the form of you for you to use and utilize when
Gotcha.
they so it's less it's that to me is more of an echo. That sounds like
Yeah.
we're talking about like things in the past, all reverberations, but that seems like an echo. That is like a snapshot of a wasted potential that is becoming useful. The way they describe the echoes here, and like it's spooky because this is like some prestige stuff. I don't know if have you seen the film The Prestige?
Yeah. Yep.
This is like some freaky like which one goes in the tank stuff of
Ooh.
of when you
Yeah.
I hate that aspect of time travel. Like it freaks
Yeah.
me out too much of yeah. But look, I wrote it down. So let's talk about it because it's so detailed the notes that he gave him because Caleb rolled a 31 Arcana.
Yeah.
He rolled a 31 like twice in a
Yeah, we
row.
got some high rolls this episode.
Yeah. So we got that. It was the temporal alteration, Athadan and Archmaid Ayoshidoth.
Yeah.
They were researching the seemingly limitless source of far out. Come on, Alana. Of I was bragging about how neat my notes were. Of something transmutation, or transporal transmutation.
Yeah.
Still vastly untapped. They looked at the concept that that's old notes. One can anchor one's point in one's history and temporarily shunt there. So they can create an anchor point, which is a point that then allows them to travel there.
Okay.
If successful, expansion to designated anchor points. Oh, if successful, they can then expand designated anchor points to beyond one's own timeline may be possible. So to that makes me think that this is going to be like MCU style time travel of like if you time travel, you're not necessarily going to change your past. You're going to go to the past and create an alternate timeline. And whether or not that affects your current timeline or not, your trajectory would be on the timeline. Because then they talk about an echo being left behind, which is your anchor in your own timeline.
Yes.
So it seems as though you're creating multiple timelines rather than simply traveling to the past.
Right.
They talk about how it is a few seconds in transit is stressful, and later experiments lament spending longer than predetermined within that dock with the echo fading and the individual never returning. So I think it's one of those scenarios where yeah, you create your anchor in your timeline, you travel to another timeline, or you travel to the past, create a new timeline, and you continue on that Captain America style, and your connection to your original timeline crumbles and disappears.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm terrified that Endgame for like Caleb is going to be like they finish everything, they solve everything, and he's like,
And
okay, well, goodbye,
yeah,
and
and then
like he's going to go
he's
off
just gone.
and live in a world where his parents
Yeah.
are alive and he's living with like Astrid and whatever. Like,
Yeah. Oh, jeez. But that's like that is like the good like sad ending for Caleb, where it's like he got what he wanted, but then like he's leaving his friends and stuff behind in this timeline,
yeah,
but he was still
but
able to bring his family back.
I think it's not going to be like, I mean, what's he going to do? He's like in his 30s. If he travels back in time to when he was a teenager, it's not like he can live out his life.
That's
Um,
true. That's
I
true.
I'm wondering. Obviously, they're going to do research. They might find ways to get fucky with it and
Yeah.
um, bring people back or do something else with it. Which, oh man, I want to talk about it a bit later. Not jumping ahead, but I want to talk about, is this the final arc? Now I'm not so sure. Like,
hmm
yeah, I've got other
Well,
theories
yeah,
on
yeah,
that.
no, that's true because with all of this like extra stuff that Matt has planted in Aor, like
Yeah,
why would he plant this stuff just for this to be the final arc and then to
yeah, I've
never
got,
come back to it?
yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, no, that's a good point. But
Um, so
I love and hate the concept of time travel because it has to be done right or else it can just get super fucky. But the super fucky shit is what makes it so interesting. It's like,
yeah,
damn, like this could be really cool if pulled off, but if something goes wrong along the line, it's over.
yeah, because I think of it like if they're doing these experiments and they're sending people off to the past, they might just not be returning. Like they could sever their connection with their own timeline because it's, for whatever reason, it might just do that. And they could be like, oh, it's failed, they've died, they've been destroyed in the process. It could just be, no, they're somewhere else. Like they've made a new home timeline.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so trippy.
that is.
Uh,
Oh god. Yeah, it's the possibilities are insane
yeah.
if they're actually able to pull this off. And how like it's so clever because we knew that the beacons,
Oh,
when you're
yeah.
within the beacon, there's it shows all the different, possibilities, all the different paths,
All the
you know,
time,
all the
all your
different
past,
timelines and stuff. So
all your
it just
variations.
makes perfect. Like Matt is such a galaxy brain. It just makes perfect sense that the beacons, and I feel like we kind of knew this from the beginning that the beacons were going to be the key to some form of time travel if they have this connection to all the different
Yeah.
possibilities that could happen. It was just finding out how to
It
like harness that.
it is a, like, unimaginable force of power, the beacon, and the Luxon as a whole. If these beacons are all parts of this Luxon entity, like, what if the Luxon is, because we know of the Luxon as a god is from the Kryn
Yeah,
dynasty of, it was a whole, it was separated. But here in Aor, it's very much like, well, these are just more scientific
yeah,
devices that allow us to view this
yeah,
dunamis, to allow this energy. Um, what if they are just the representation of like time and space in this universe? Uh, I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if anyone's seen it, but there's a TV show called Tales from the Loop. And I'm just getting like big vibes of that from there. It's like this big machine that just controls like time and space in this little area, and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
don't touch it anymore. Like I don't want
Yeah,
it's dangerous. Um, but like the implications for the Kryn dynasty, the implications for the Bright Queen,
yeah.
Essex research, I think the fact that Trent still has one, um,
Yeah.
it's all kinds of messed up with these beacons.
They need to be very selective, or just not tell
Yeah.
anyone about this information, because like if any powerful party learns that time travel is possible, the floodgates are open. It's going
Oh,
to be absolute pandemonium.
yeah, 100%.
Maybe would cause so much strain on this material plane that another divergence would happen, or another
I'm not
calamity.
gonna jump ahead. I'm not gonna jump ahead. There was a thing someone said that, like, was super exciting, but I'm
Oh,
not gonna jump ahead. I'm really trying hard this week. Should I just talk
no.
no, no, I won't, that's fine. But I wanna point out a comment that Leah had, was that, "What if Caleb only goes back in time and brings his parents to the present?" I think that's, like, best case scenario of what
Yeah,
could possibly happen. If we want a
because
happy ending,
what
but
if he
I
only goes
think
back
that's
in time to bring his present? The only issue with
like
that is Caleb is able to jump timelines
mm,
and then return, right? Because he has the anchor point.
yes.
His parents wouldn't have that.
Yeah,
So they would have to figure out a way to somehow like create like a wormhole, or like a something, like a portal, or some kind of a
yeah.
connection between the two timelines to actually
So
bring them back.
they would so here we go.
Yep, yep,
Caleb
here it is.
Caleb uses the machine. He has his anchor point in his timeline. He
Yes.
goes back to like moments before he burns down the house and gets his parents out. So that in that timeline, everything still happens normally. Like these parents die, but they weren't actually in the house. He gets his parents out. He travels to Aor with his parents and uses the machine there for his parents to create anchors in that timeline to jump over back to his timeline, and then he bams back out.
But the anchor points. Oh wait. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. Because they would use the device. Okay, but they would have to figure out how to bamf to a particular timeline. So I see what you're
Yes.
saying. They would, create their own anchor points in that timeline, and they would just jump to a different one.
Yeah.
They would just have to figure out how to jump to a specific one.
I don't think that's going to be how it happens.
I mean,
Because
it could.
imagine if they like if he's it's like, all right, I'm going to do it. Time heist. I'm talking a lot about Marvel tonight, but yeah, Marvel time heist. Let's go. Let's jump
No.
in. Let's grab the thing we need. And he picks the one timeline where that thing in Aor is a little bit messed up, or like
Mm-hmm.
something slightly different. No, I think that's probably too happy ending. Not that it can't happen. I just think it's going to be a lot messier than all that. Or it's not going to happen at all, because I think the big push is for don't fuck with this stuff.
Yeah.
You've been giving a lot of chances here to not fuck with this stuff. Maybe don't. Uh,
Oh, I want them to. I want them to fuck with this stuff.
but it does lead to the interesting concept of, once again, Aorian date of Essek and Caleb potentially in the future.
I know. Yeah, yeah. Bo and Yasha got their own date episode. I think it's time for Shadow Guest to
Yeah.
have the spotlight. Let's see it. Let Liam
Oh
have a
my
happy ending. Damn it! I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. Caleb is gonna have a tragic happy ending. What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's just
I,
the
d-
way it's
I,
just the wind
I just
blows.
don't see it happening. I don't see. Oh goodness, I don't know. It's tricky. Time travel alone is tricky, let
Yeah.
alone with how it works in D&D. Um yeah. Oh my
Ooh, but
goodness.
if Essek dies, then they're also gonna have to time travel to get Essek back, so Essek doesn't die.
Well, even Essek was talking about, being able to fix mistakes. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you're doing the classic time travel mistake of like changing the
Right.
past.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's very much like, what are you like? Just
But then,
think about it.
yeah, because he wouldn't be able to change the past because it wouldn't be his timeline that he's changing the
No,
past in.
yeah, he would be changing current events in a different timeline.
Yeah,
So it's not time travel, it's more like dimension travel.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty much how you have to look at it because there's still then an Essek in that timeline that then you would have to kill.
Mm. Who's in the water tank?
Yeah. Oh God. It just. Oh man. Oh jeez. Because this is why they have to be so careful about who they give this
Yeah.
information to, because like someone like Trent could maybe figure out how to take this to the next level and then create a whole army of Trents, and then we'll have like a council of Trents, like the
Ah,
council of Ricks
ah,
from Rick and
ah.
Morty.
Oh god,
It'll just be a whole planet of just Trents from all the
that's
different
not good.
timelines.
Gross. I don't want to think about that.
Oh God. Yeah, so they got to be careful. Oh, this is this time travel. This is a whole thing. This is a
Oh
whole
yeah,
thing.
it's messy. People are not happy with your
No, they're not. No, they're not. I gotta get my weekly ban in. I gotta get banned from my
yeah.
stream at least once a week. So I'll take it. I'll take it. Is Caleb Morty? Maybe. Maybe.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Oh, well, we could go on and on about the whole time travel
Oh
stuff, but
yeah,
there's still more
yeah.
things to talk about in this
This was
episode.
this was like the first 30 minutes of the episode. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
So we'll probably like gloss over some of the more like smaller things in this episode
yeah,
because there was a lot of just moving around and stuff. They
yeah,
went through like a kitchen and a common room and stuff that just led
yeah,
into the immense hall. But what was really cool was this pickle they found themselves in, where they tripped an intuit charge.
yeah. I was like, I 100% thought you were gonna say this pickle they found, and I was like, what?
What?
Like, I
I
don't
missed
remember
that part. I don't remember that at all. Yeah, it was a whole scene.
that. Please continue.
But the where they triggered the intuit charge, which is pretty cool in itself. Getting a taste of their own medicine. But then there were then two intuit charges ahead of them,
Yeah,
and then also behind them where the enemy's coming in. So they're like,
yeah.
"Oh shit,
Oh,
what do we do? We can't move forward, but we also can't move back." So they had to
yeah.
really think on their feet there, which I thought was just like a really cool scenario to puzzle almost to put your players into.
Mm. We don't yet know. I guess we don't yet know if those two internet charges in front of them were proximity or if they were also um, to be set off manually by Lucian, because
Mhm.
they dispelled those eventually. So we don't actually know, but I think they probably would have been proximity because,
Yeah,
like, why else would they just be sitting there? Um, that is a dangerous situation of, do we stick around and fight these things, or do we move forward and try and work on them? I think, and never a critique, but I think in that scenario, Matt was giving them hints of what to do, but it didn't maybe necessarily pass through, because I think he was heavily describing, like, oh, these guys look injured, these guys
yeah,
took damage. Um uh Even to the point when, like the Otter Yug and that came in, and well, what we presume was an Otter Yug came in and took them out, and they had the space before them, which would essentially lead into the chamber with Lucian and Kree. Uh, and they were talking about having a hero's feast, maybe. They were saying, like, are we having a hero's feast down? They're like, no, not with this going on, like talking about the
right.
monsters. And he
Hmm.
was saying, like, sounds kind of quiet, like, it's it's
Hmm.
died down a bit. And when they say let's move on, he kind of resigns a little bit. So I think Matt was
Oh yeah, that's a
maybe
good
giving them
point.
an option there to say, hey, if you want to hang out and have a hero's feast here, it
Rest,
was
yeah.
okay. Because like I mean, as a DM, you could be like, I mean, in canon, you'd be like, well, if they had the hero's feast then Korean Lucian would be gone. But as a DM, he probably would have been like, oh, it took them an extra hour to unlock it while you had your hero's feast.
Yeah.
But you know, that's D&D, that's how it works. But I think that it not having the hero's feast is horrifying.
Yeah, real bad. It would have been super nice if they had gotten that. And
They
also because
just
that would have been a short rest too, so they would have gotten some like hit dice back as well.
yeah, I think they felt like they were being hounded, so
Yeah.
no worries, let's keep going. And they didn't realize, and I didn't realize how close they were to Korean Lucian. I
Yeah.
thought we still had time. But it's
Yeah.
like, no, you come to this chamber and there you are. It's here.
Oh man. Yeah. That because like I said at the beginning, I wasn't expecting a confrontation. I thought they were still, you know, a little ways away from where they needed to go. And so when Matt started describing that massive room and then the gate, like the immensus gate and the water flowing through, I was like, wait a minute. This is it? We're here? Oh no. Because then we went to the break and I was like, wait, what's gonna happen? Because they didn't let us know ahead of time that this was gonna be a longer episode. So when the break happened, we knew at most there was only about an hour and a half left of the episode in its entirety. So I was like, what the hell is gonna happen in the next hour that it just ends?
Yeah.
And that's what got me really worried. So either like, you know, it's gonna end halfway through combat, or like someone dies and they ended on a cliffhanger, or something. But yeah.
That was concerning. I think excuse me. I think that because Matt drew attention to that elevator shaft, that the broom lift that he was talking about, I think we can probably safely assume that they just came straight down.
Yeah, probably.
So there was probably like they did catch up. They did like get a really good. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if you can see if my webcam is flashing green every 5 seconds. Yeah. I'll finish this thought and then I might try to fix it. Yeah, like they caught up pretty good. They were by the end of it only an hour behind, which is really impressive.
Really good.
Yeah. But we got this confrontation just before the break, pretty much before we got we got a huge lore drop before the break. We got the entire conversation. Oh wait, no,
I think
that
was
just
after. Yeah,
that was after.
Yeah.
But no, that was so good. We see just the room itself. The Stargate description was really cool.
Yeah.
I was like a big Stargate fan. That was really cool. And we see the source of the water, which I don't know why we didn't think. Like, I guess we didn't know how this kind of plane or teleportation was going to work, but an actual gate makes sense, I suppose. Yeah.
I guess we probably could have assumed that the immensus gate, like maybe in the room that this immensus gate is in, or you know whatever it is, there's multiple portals to different planes of existence, and maybe the plane to the the water plane, or the portal to the water plane was broken, and that's where the water was coming from.
Yeah.
But nope, it was an aqueduct. Yeah. It was a broken aqueduct. That's all it was.
Yes. Because he said like this door can go many places essentially, but that was right for the end.
Ooh, what if it's like? It would have been cool if it was like this, but because I don't know if you've seen Treasure Planet, but essentially there's like this like star map. It's just like a little sphere that you place into its holder or whatever, and then it opens up a portal. And you press different buttons to open a portal to different dimensions and stuff. So it's kind of what this gate is.
I haven't seen that from the movie. I haven't seen the actual movie, but yeah that's really cool. But yeah, so we see that, like, him talking about also the intellect charges. Everything Lucian says, you can tell Matt has so carefully planned it, even from. Like, he will always check his notes before speaking as Lucian. I think because he wants his character to be super verbose and super kind of in charge of the situation. So having your words done beforehand really helps with that. But just everything he says is so particular. He has and either it's to tease the players or to tease the characters, um, but it's so, or to tease the audience probably. It's just so specific. So he was talking about like the intuit charges and talking about how he could set them off at any moment.
Yep.
And he says like, if I do, you'll bleed from every memory. That's like such a strong like
Yeah.
uh description of hurting someone,
Yeah.
especially like, I mean, the whole concept of memory and,
Mm-hmm.
self, that's been a common theme. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna try and fix this web camera. I apologize. I'm
Oh, no
just gonna swap
problem.
it over.
No problem. But yeah, it was honestly a really clever setup for Matt having having the Intuit charges there as like just like a fail safe. It seems like Matt really did want to have a conversation, and so how do you make that happen? Well, you put the players in a scenario where they have to use diplomacy, or else they'll just die or take heavy damage, which would have happened because 2 Intuit charges is 20 d10 damage, an average of 100, which would have knocked basically all of them down, mostly. So that was a really good way to have Lucian take control of the situation, so a conversation could happen. But well, I guess there's a few different things to talk about in this episode, or in this conversation. So it was good that Lucian was able to take control of the conversation, which allowed it to happen. Another reason why I don't think that this is going to be the final arc is because, well, it could just be a minor thing, just to, scare the party a little bit.
Yeah.
But Lucian brought up the Cloven Crystal
Yes.
from Ukatoa, which could be Matt calling back, like, hey, y'all, Ukatoa is still potentially a thing. There might be other parties who want to bring Ukatoa back. Or it could have just been, like, Matt just, messing with the party, being like, oh, look what Lucian's got now.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that was concerning. That was very concerning. Um, uh, because that's, I mean, they didn't show that to him, did they? They didn't.
No.
He didn't know that existed. That was just in the bag. No, that was in the amber, wasn't it? Okay, so that makes more sense. I was like, how did he
Yeah.
get that out of the bag of holding? But he would have just dispelled the amber, which means Vesterogda's body is probably just gone.
Yeah,
um, he's
probably.
gotten rid of that pretty quickly. But I'm trying to think of what else they had in the amber. They had a fuck ton of fireworks.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not sure if they
Probably
had
just a bunch of
anything
random
else
stuff.
super important. But no, but something I did want to bring up, this thing that Lucian said, as he does so specifically. I'm sorry, I'll just get this sorted. He said when like Kree was, why don't we just kill them? Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, manners are important and the last thing to go when an age runs dry. What do you mean by that, Matthew Mercer? What do you mean an age running dry? Like, are you talking about this age? Are you talking about the concept that he thinks this will be the dawning of a new age? Oh, I think that's probably what it is. The dawning of a new age with like whatever's going to happen here. I want to know what.
Yeah, it could be something like that, but I think in Lucian's head, I think he truly believes he's already won. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing that can stop him. So he's like, well, I might as well be polite. That's the
Yeah.
least I can do to be polite because there's no way they can stop me.
He very much believes, I think, that he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't, or not the wrong thing at the very least, because he doesn't want to kill them. Well,
Right.
yeah, he might want to kill them for personal reasons, but he seems
Yeah.
legitimately like he doesn't wish them ill unless they attack him first.
Right.
It's
And that goes into, one of the other big things in this conversation is the twitches he had and like the pause
yeah,
in the conversation. It could be that the main reason why he's never tried killing them, he's always, pushed to, let's just talk. Come see what I'm doing. Let's just talk. Let's just talk this out. It could just
yeah,
be that Horde of Molly that's still there that pushing through,
Yeah.
that's holding him back from, pulling the trigger.
He says that. He says, "Try as I might, I
Yeah,
still
there's
just
still
like it
something.
for
Yeah,
some reason." Yeah. Um, those kind of like ticks and
yeah,
twitches of recognition or like confusion. Like I think like when it first happened, everyone in the chat's like, "Is he playing them? Like,
yeah.
is this the betrayal coming on where he's going to pretend to be Molly to, betray them?" But
Oh, yeah,
they got really high insight checks, and the way
yeah.
Matt described it was he doesn't know why this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is, he said it was hollow confusion, and he doesn't understand it, which feels pretty good. Feels
Yeah,
like a
no,
good.
that's good looks. However, Annika is gonna, if Annika ends up watching this at some point, she's gonna like this one. Uh, this sets up the idea that Kree might be the one who betrays Lucian. If Lucian ultimately can't deliver in the end
Yeah,
because he can't kill the party, or something happens where he wants to save the party if things go south,
yeah.
Kree is gonna be like, "Yo, what the? This is not what was supposed to happen.
She
I'm gonna take over."
she was very like I don't want to say pushy. That's not the best way to describe it, but she was
Desperate
very
to,
like yeah, like kill the spares kind of thing.
yeah,
I like that theory a lot. I like
mm,
not necessarily that like she'd be I don't know. Yeah, but I definitely think there's gonna be a breakdown in that relationship somehow.
yeah, definitely.
Um, but we got an
And that
incredible and super awesome lore dump. Do you wanna say something?
Well, I was just. Oh, gee, I think I already lost. No, it's just that little moment between Lucian and Kree shows their dynamic pretty well,
Yeah,
because normally you would think that, because obviously Lucian is the leader of this, the cult, he's the Nonagon and stuff.
yeah,
But because Kree is there, maybe like questioning his decisions or being like, let's just kill him, putting in her 2 cents, shows that they're at close to maybe like an equal, dynamic, at least in, in maybe like power level or something, if she feels comfortable, calling him out and, pushing for certain things to happen. So it shows that Korea is bold and willing to,
yeah.
perhaps take things into her own hands if it comes to it, which, just leads to the potential of Kree turning her back on Lucian if things go south.
Yeah. And it might not even be like ambition because I mean she worked for the gentleman for however many years. Like it's not as if she was continuing the research and continuing the fight without Lucian once he died. She kind of resigned herself to the fact that okay, I need to go get a job and I need to like deal with this
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. So it could just be that she I mean, one, I think she just straight up hates the Mighty Nine. I
Yeah.
think they've killed her friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're constantly getting in the way. So I think it could be more that rather than her own ambition, if that makes sense. Like if she
Yeah.
turns on Lucian, it will be as you say because he can't do the job. Rather than like, haha, I've been planning this all along.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because that would feel really out of character for Kree. I
Yeah.
think to be yeah, because she I mean, think back to when they first went to the gentleman's and Kree saw Molly. Like she loves this guy.
Yeah.
That was a like a happy positive reaction. Um, so yeah, she's a believer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm excited for that
Yeah.
if that does
Definitely.
happen.
And then going off of what you were starting to talk
Yeah,
about, the massive lore
we
drop.
got some lore, and there's some of it that is just there's so much to talk about this the lore that they gave us. So should I just read
Yeah.
parts of what he said? Because I wrote it down. I was trying to scribe it as we're going. So not verbatim, I should say. Uh, so long ago, people sought to flee oppressive minds and pursue their dreams, uh, and they found a place where they could do that. Now, this part. This is important. When destruction came, not of their making, they were ready, or so they thought. I think that's a pretty clear indication, or at least from Lucian's point of view, that the Somnovum and the Cognosa Ward didn't destroy Aor.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the
What
first
did?
big thing. Yeah. So
What did?
I guess we can assume maybe the next
Okay.
culprit, which was the gods. The gods
Yeah,
saw what they were doing, toying with,
I think so.
uh, creating things to bring them down. They're like, no, we can't have this.
Yeah. That was really exciting to me because that was like almost a straight answer of wasn't them. Like they're not to blame for that. Uh, because the way he does describe them as he describes them as like almost just kind of ignorant, not evil, just they made a really poor choice. They went to this place they thought they'd be safe, and he says they couldn't prepare for the terrible psychic storm that awaited them.
Hmm.
So it seems like they just had like they didn't understand the power of the astral sea, or they didn't understand something else that might have been in the astral sea that potentially affected them. Um, but then he goes on and says, it racked every mind and spirit, shattering them, uh, shattering the minds until they eventually became one with
Hmm.
the city. So here's my theory. He talks about how within this psychic storm that seems to be in the astral sea or surrounding the city or some other outside influence, this psychic storm, it shatters the mind. And that's what we know happened to Lucian. Uh,
Yeah.
he got astral projected into the astral sea, shattered his mind. His body died, or died, became empty, and his mind,
Yeah.
spread out and fled until the only piece that remained was Molly, and climbed out of the grave. The concerning thing is, we know someone else that has astral projected themselves to this psychic storm.
Yeah.
What if Yusa
Yusa.
has completely shattered like Lucian did? What if we get Molly Mark 2.0? That's not how that works, I know, but like, is there a way I mean, I guess there was a way to restore it for Lucian, so I think we're gonna get a shattered user consciousness that they're gonna come across. Um,
Oh, yeah.
or it's gonna be different aspects of users' personality in different places. Whether or not, like, we don't know what happened to Lucian's consciousness when it was shattered. It doesn't
Right.
sound like it was joined with the city. It sounded like it went in multiple places.
Hmm.
Um, because I guess maybe consciousness and soul are different. I don't know. There's all too many questions with this. But that was my takeaway of what's happened to Yusa. Has he been shattered like Lucian? Is his body empty? Is his body empty again? Um,
Well, that does mean then that he could be brought back because Lucian was
he
brought
could
back.
be brought back. Yeah, it might be a thing of they have to kill Yusa's body and revive it, like resurrect him.
Hmm.
Um, but it's exciting to think of there being these shattered pieces of Yusa that they're going to come across as they approach the city or as they delve into the city. And imagine if they just fight like this. Imagine if within the city they have a combat where they just fight like this corrupted gold dragon. Um,
Oh, jeez.
I
That
could
would
see
be
that happening. That would be the best
that would be
setting.
pretty sick. That would be pretty sick. But all of this lore drop of the history of the Somnovum,
Mm.
because we always just thought it was just the Somnovum were a bunch of evil wizards who wanted to
Evil wizards!
shunt everything.
Yeah.
But as we should have expected, this entire campaign has been very morally gray. And again, as Devilish was saying, you know, it was just happenstance that the Cognosa Ward ended up becoming this morphed into this creepy
Yeah.
thing. They couldn't have predicted that they would enter into like a psychic storm and cause the tragedy to happen. They were just trying to save themselves from the destruction
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Aor.
And save all their people. They talk about the
Yeah.
thousands of people that were in the Cognosa ward. Um, but yeah, so he continues on with like thousands, and some of them they're broken, reformed, and became powerful. Their instinct of their dream. So they realize their ability to make their dreams reality. Uh, but they needed help. Hard to push through the hunger.
Hmm.
Cities The city was now alive. So it was alive with
Yep.
we can assume the bodies and the consciousness and the souls of these people,
Hmm.
because they teleported there fully, and they needed to eat, which is like a callback to Vokodo, like how it was hunting Vokodo,
Oh
how
yeah.
it hunts these entities through the astral sea, which is just like, it's such cool imagery. Uh, but he says that he was a mind freed, and he can provide them guidance that they lack, all this wasted potential that he can guide, essentially.
So what do we think
Nailed
Lucian's
it. Heard the lore.
intentions are with this? Does
I
he
think
does he want to guide the city so that
I
it just doesn't wreak
think so.
havoc over everything, or like what does he want to do?
I
Like, cause
think
like
he kind of
why would Lucian want to see the end of the world?
I think he sees the city as like it's one entity, even though there's like the thousands of voices and names and like they're conscious enough to like say welcome. Like
Yeah,
they know what like they talk and they have we can assume maybe reason or they have some kind of conversational skills. But he seems to think of it as just this unending city with no guidance that's, just hunger. So I
yeah.
think he thinks in as the nonagon or as the vessel for the somnovum to not control it, but to guide it, to lead it, whether that is to bring it back because he's got the stones to bring it back to the material plane, and either I don't know, I doubt heal it, but like use it to
Oh,
make the world a better place, as he said, or as Caleb said, trying to get a rise from him.
yeah,
Like, do you want to make the world better than you found? And he's like, yes, I do, and I 100% believe that's what he thinks.
yeah. He's
Um,
getting lost in his own arrogance. He doesn't see that
yeah,
things could go
exactly.
wrong.
We know we've seen the Wild Mother's vision of this thing
Yeah.
comes, it's the end of everything. I think it would just consume, it would just
Because then,
um
okay, so then I guess we can still assume that maybe the Somnovum are evil, because if the gods destroyed Aor because they were getting too close to building like a god destroyer weapon or something along those lines, then we can and if the Wild Mother was around during that time, she would know possibly what they were hoping to do or like
mm,
create that would be the cause of this, and so maybe her vision that she gave to Caduceus was what their initial plan was in Aor, was just mass destruction.
yeah.
And so that's how she was able to come up with that idea. But
I think the weapon that they were created to destroy the gods was the time travel machine. Was the ability to and the beacons, the untapped dunamis, to be able
mhm,
to they said, like, to be able to not die, not send your soul to an afterlife, that would
yeah.
destroy the gods. Like, what's the point of faith if there's no, like, afterlife in some of those
And
gods'
there's the whole
cases?
idea that the gods are the ones that are in control of like your destiny and stuff. Like the gods set you on a
Exactly.
path, but if
You can
the
just
humans have
change it.
access to all of the different possibilities and different timelines and stuff, then the gods have no power.
And I could see that's like, I mean, it was destroyed. Like Aeol was destroyed, and this concept of, beating the gods was destroyed with them. And then you have the beacons that were just kind of, picked up, I guess, by the Kryn, by the Drow that then left the Underdark and became the Kryn dynasty.
Hmm.
And their focus on the beacons is purely faith based. It's
Yeah.
it's engaging with it but not studying it. That's why Essek is like the outlier. He wanted to
Hmm.
study it, he wanted to research it, he wanted to understand its potential, which would then lead them back down the Aeol path. That would lead them back to, so what if the gods made up the story of the Luxon? What if they
Yeah, I could see
like
that.
they're like, we know that there's these powerful artifacts in the world that potentially, when used correctly, could lead to our destruction or lead to our diminishment. What if we lie about it? What if we give it this new meaning where it's not going to be messed with, essentially?
Hmm.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh
It's
God.
so cool. Everything about the Luxon and the Beacons and like the Kryn dynasty is so exciting,
Yeah.
which is making me feel like this isn't the final arc anymore. I don't
It
know. I'm
yeah,
so
it really
confused.
doesn't.
I'm so
It doesn't anymore at
confused.
this point.
It doesn't feel as endgamey anymore.
Yeah.
It just feels like I don't know. There's still so much more to happen.
No, I feel that because I mean, back with campaign one, because a lot of people are comparing this to the Thordak fight. Um,
Yeah. Oh
it
god.
is starting to feel like that more and more. Where it feels like a very climactic thing is happening, but
Yeah.
there's still more moving in the background, and there's still more to discover and to realize.
Yeah. I don't see how they can fight this city or destroy it. It seems too powerful or too strong. They have to either just keep it in the astral sea and somehow sever their connection to it,
Hmm.
and also take out Lucian and Kree. Like they needed to make sure that it's not a threat in that sense, because
Yep.
there's so much messed up stuff in the astral sea that is world ending, but
Oh
you
yeah.
can't be worrying yourself with it every day.
Right.
But the reason why the city is a threat currently is because that there's a madman with some stones that wants to bring it back. That sounds
Hmm.
like Thanos. Um, so I don't see them actually being able to destroy this city,
No.
uh,
Yeah, I don't think so.
unless there's like a big glowing orb in the center of town that they.
Yeah, because what
But
Leah? Okay, here's the thing though. What Leah was saying is that Leah thinks that there is a beacon in the city.
yeah,
Maybe like
could
in this
be.
psychic storm, the beacon was there, and as everyone was dying, all of their souls went into the beacon, or something happened, and so now the beacon is the source of this corruption. The psychic
Oof,
storm twisted it in some way,
yeah,
and so they to defeat the city, they have to destroy this beacon, or do something with it to stop it. That only
yeah.
happens if there is actually a beacon on there, and if that
I
actually
think there'd be like
makes any
some weird
sense.
time stuff happening then with the city as well.
Hmm.
I guess that it is old, but I think that's just because the souls and the bodies are like fused, and
Yeah.
like the city's alive as well. Like that's
Yeah, that was
not
super
psychic
creepy.
stuff. That's organic crap. Like
Yeah.
how did that happen? A psychic storm's not doing that. It's like fun, like Fantastic Four stuff
Yeah.
happening here.
It reminds me
Um,
of any of my World of Warcraft friends out there. It just reminds me of like the corruption of the old gods. With the eye imagery, like the blinking eyes on the various buildings and towers and stuff, the weird corruption. It's moving strangely. Yeah. It's
yeah, it's a
gross.
physical entity. Ugh.
Oh, don't like that. Don't like
No.
that. But after all this conversing and stuff, he Lucian opens up the
Yep.
water plane a little bit more to let some water in. Didn't really
Yeah,
think
just
anything was gonna happen with that. I just thought he
a
was adding more water.
little bit of water.
Yeah, but then switching it, and then yeah, revealing the astral sea, and that the city is right there. The city's right there, outside the gate. Uh, and unfortunately, yeah, like again, this just goes to show like how brilliant of a setup this was on Matt/Lucian's part, because the party they couldn't stop him from going in. If
No,
they attempted to do anything, Lucian would just trigger the Intuit charges. They
yeah,
were stuck. They were
that
checkmated
that
in
sucked.
that part.
It sucked also because I think like the Intuit charges are terrifying. Like they're not good, especially if you get stunned by them. But
Yeah,
Matt did make a point of like he rolled really well for that first one.
yeah, that is
Um,
true.
like I mean a 71 or something off
Yeah, out of
10d10.
100, yeah,
That's
that's very
really
high.
good. It could equally be like, 22 points of psychic damage, but
Yeah,
the stun is, I guess, the thing that really rocks you with that.
yeah,
Um, oh, I don't, yeah, they couldn't have taken on two Intuit charges, Kree and
no,
Lucian, and the Leviathan together. That would have
nope,
been impossible. Yeah,
not a single chance. But it was just so many like subtle, intense moments, because when Kree and Lucian were about to enter the portal, like the players and the characters, they were like, are we gonna stop them? Like, are we gonna do something? But like they all
yeah,
knew like they couldn't, like they can't,
yeah.
because they know what would
But
happen if they tried to.
it,
But they were still like, oh, like what do we do? Like, do we try to stop them? But it's like it was like the
it's really
tragedy was like they can't, they literally can't do anything in this scenario. Like they were just
because the
oh
whole plan in any planning they've done or any discussion they had leading up to this was don't let them get away.
yeah
Um, we're not running, which they didn't like, we're not running. They can't get away. And if we can, stop them before they get to the astral sea. And it was just like,
Yeah.
you just have to watch them go in.
That's a really good point. Like everything they had planned for is right there in front of them, and
Yeah.
they can't do it.
No, that was pretty rough. That was
Yeah. But then, unfortunately, they did get away. But then we got a really interesting fight, or it wasn't, like a full-on fight. It was more of like a, okay, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, that creature's really cool. But yeah, I like that because it would have destroyed them had they tried to take it down. I think getting out and just running away was the best bet, and it led to probably some of the funniest moments of the episode.
Yeah.
In terms
Yep.
of wild magic.
Yep. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Do we know what this creature was? You said it was a Leviathan?
Yeah, so I think in the Discord someone brought it up and then I was checking it out. Yeah, it's from the Mordekainen's Tome of Foes. It seems like a Leviathan, which is this large water elemental creature. But it also seemed to be maybe a little bit homebrewed because it doesn't necessarily look like the way it looked there, which is fun shape. But no, either way, it seemed to be just like a strong elemental. Yeah, that was. I love how much the water plane keeps coming up. I love the water plane from campaign 1.
Yeah,
I love that whole fight the Kraken business. I kind of hope we can have more of that at some point. I know that's probably not.
You gotta fight a Kraken every single campaign.
I mean, if you don't fight a Kraken, what's the point of D&D?
Exactly.
But yeah, no, that whole sequence was incredible. We got some good teamwork and some good planning and good teamwork in the sense of, I can't remember who it was, but it might have been like Jester or Ford being like, we're going to go through. I think it might have been Ford like that. I'm going to go through. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Bo and Yasha, but let's go through. They've got it. It wasn't a matter of, sticking around and hoping to get, let's all hold hands and go in at once.
They're putting their trust in each other that they would be able to handle themselves to get through.
I was worried for Caduceus at the end, but thankfully he got through.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, it's good stuff.
But wild magic did grant us some just beautiful moments. Tiny Veth.
So
People have said Sam raising his voice was super good. And of course Sheeplib just bouncing through the portal.
That's like Liam's dream.
I know.
Because he loves being polymorphed into animals, but I think he loves it even more when it's not him doing it. Yeah, and he's 100% right, because he's like, he gets polymorphed into it and he runs through the portal and everyone was like, what are you doing? He's like, of course I do. Of course I do. Like,
it makes sense.
That's incredible. How could you not do that or have that visual, or just go? You're a sheep. What the hell are you going to do? Just go.
Yeah. See, he probably rationalized it as, when he was Caleb, his thought was, okay, we got to get everyone through this portal. And then when he turned into a sheep, the last thing he thought of was get through the portal.
Yeah.
And so
just keep going.
He just ran with it. Yeah, and it was so good. It was so funny.
Giant sheep. Like, not understanding her size differences as well.
Oh yeah. And then Travis seeing little Veth run past. I mean, like, what the heck is that? That little vermin that ran past. Oh.
Yeah, and then that final clutch moment of Jester getting pulled back towards the portal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was reminiscent of the Kraken fight of, like, people are down, you need to grab them, but you need to get out. And no, that was clutch. That was so good. I'm so glad.
And I was worried that that's where the cliffhanger was going to be coming to, because it was getting close to the end of the episode when that happened. So I was like, oh no, is the episode going to end with like Jester getting pulled back through and the portal shutting?
Oh my god.
That's what I initially thought.
That's the worst.
Yeah, that would That would not have been good. Because I was, the ending of this fight reminded me of Jester being the last one standing against the blue dragon back in the Happy Fun
Yeah.
Ball. That's initially what I thought. I was like, uh-oh, except this time she's not going to be able to get out. I was worried. I was big worried. Big worried. But luckily,
Yeah.
we didn't get that. So.
Oh my goodness.
Well, before we go into the last little bit of this episode, let's look at some fan art. Let's look at some fan art. Let's take a quick breather. Look at some fan art, starting with Alana's pick, which is very intriguing.
Relaxing.
Yeah, it's very relaxing indeed. We have Lucian holding the cloven crystal. This beautiful art is done by @HarpiesN on Twitter. Oh, is Ukatoa going to be the next, or is Lucian going to be the next champion?
I loved this. I thought it was so cool. This concept of, well, now we're really fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it could have been like a little bit of, him messing with them. But if this guy comes back and he's got the city behind him and he's like, hey, I think this is a good idea, he's just going to do it. He'll just release Ukatoa.
Yeah, he's not going to care.
If he's like, yeah, exactly, right? Look, he's got a leash around Ukatoa.
Oh my god, he does.
I know that's like not necessarily canon, but I love that concept of him controlling him.
Yeah. But this just makes me feel like at the end of the day, Lucian's downfall is going to be his own arrogance, because he thinks he's untouchable.
It's going to be his own arrogance, or, as we said, it's going to be him not being able to go through with it and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's honestly 50-50.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
feels
surprised
like that at this point.
Like, Matt has left it up to chance. It's going to be like how the Mighty Nine deal with him, what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see. Yeah,
I think they need to give him Molly's coat, if they still have it.
Well, they did, didn't they? Or like they presented it to him or something. I don't know. They've done something with like the colors and the patterns and that, and he had no connection to it. But maybe getting closer to the city where his mind was shattered, this kind of aspect of himself is gaining more control. I don't know. I don't want to theorize about that anymore because I don't want to be wrong.
I know. But I mean, we've never been wrong before, so it's.
I don't want this to be the first time we're wrong.
Oh yes. Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all here for Lucian putting Ukatoa on a leash. Very good. My fan art pick is less terrifying.
Please.
We have a nice simple sheep lib art by @FloofMonster.
Man, 100% knew you were gonna have sheep lib art.
Yep, sheep lib.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Just the little sheep lib with the scarf and the little book wrapped around.
I don't think I've seen an episode where there's been so much specific fan art immediately after the episode.
There was a lot.
I've seen probably in excess of like 30 or 40 different fan arts of sheeplib.
Yep.
I want to collect them all and do like a slideshow. But it's so good. It's so cute. I love like the details of the book and the scarf.
Yeah, it's so good. And just the expression on Sheeplib's face, like he could not be bothered. By this, like this is.
Sheep.
Yep.
He doesn't give a fuck.
Good. It's so good.
I wonder how long it's gonna last, because I mean,
it seems like most things have only lasted a minute.
Yeah.
Or it could just be like a regular polymorph. It could last an hour. Which isn't good. Because we know that the city is right there. They don't have time to heroes feast. They don't have time to rest or think. It's go time. Like, this is it. Yep. This is what we've been waiting for since we first discovered of the city, and they knew that they had to stop it. All those episodes ago, back when they were on Rumblecusp, back after TravelerCon when they defeated Vokodo, From the very moment they saw the city and saw what it was capable of, they knew that they had to stop it, and now we are here. They are
I
at the doorstep of this city.
so excited. I love the Astral Sea. I like what there's so much to happen here. Like they've got
Yep.
the city immediately in front of them and the constant threat. We don't know what this city has been eating. Like obviously it's been
Yeah.
eating things like morkoths. We don't know if when it consumes something, if it absorbs that element into it. Like it could have consumed an astral dreadnought. It could have like
Yeah.
Gith in it. It could have mind flayer esque abilities. Um, there's so many things in the astral sea that you don't mess with.
Hmm.
That it could have incorporated in it. Almost, I mean, like, if we're talking about this concept of maybe there being a Luxon somewhere in the city that is the hive mind of it, I mean, that's classic kind of mind flayer type, like elder brain stuff. I could see this as being like a huge amalgamation of all these things, and it makes me excited for the potential of allies in this space. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I mean, if something like Vokodo is running away from it, we might not see too many people wanting to deal with it. But I mean, we've got Gith societies that are probably like, "Fuck this thing, we don't want it
Hmm.
here anymore." Um, I'm excited by the prospect. I don't think it's going to happen because I think it's a pretty succinct story at this point. But I'm excited at the possibility of them being like, "We need an ally," and them
Yeah.
dealing with Gith and dealing with some dragons and things like, oh, give me
Because
some dragons in
now we
space.
also have to figure out,
Dragons in space.
yeah. But also, how are they getting back? Because they closed the
they've got
portal.
they've got plane
They
shift.
do have plane shift. Yes, yes, they
Yeah.
do. Totally forgot about that.
I just want to see some red dragons in space, man. Is
Oh,
that too much to ask?
that'd be nice. But like, what's gonna happen? Like when they enter the city, like it's just
Yeah.
like we were talking, like how what you were saying is what powers do they have at their disposal because of all the things they've absorbed. Like
I
the
I
closer they get
think
to the
we
city, do they start losing their minds? Like what?
I think we can't theorize on this. And that I'm not trying to be lazy, but I think we just don't know what this is. This is a completely new creation of Matthew Mercer. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what it's going to do to them. We can assume that it's going to talk to them somehow, but so far it's only been Caleb and Bo that have actually heard the voices.
Yeah.
Whether or not the rest of the party will start hearing it as well, I want to know the connection between that goddamn book and this city.
Mm.
How is it
Mm-hmm.
book is the thing that gives you the eyes? Uh, it's almost like a cursed tome, but that implies other forms of fucked up magic. I
Yeah.
want to know like how is it that this one object has impacted on them? Why do they get the eyes? What does that mean? Why do multiple people have the eyes? Why does Lucian think he's the one? They're the things I'm excited to find out.
Yeah. And I think it's safe to assume that obviously the city isn't going to immediately consume them once they get close enough.
That would suck.
That would suck.
You
But I
got
guess
too
we
close
can't
to the
technically
city.
rule it out.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm interested. I don't know how it's going to play out because from this what Matt was saying, it sounds like Lucian and Kree are already there. Like they somehow were able to bamf to the city. So I'm guessing
Well, I
we're
think
probably going to have another like conversation maybe
yeah.
with them once they get to the city.
And I
But
mean, Lucian seems chill about this. Like he's
yeah.
like, yeah, this is normal. Let's just go. I don't. Well, as far as we know, he hasn't been there. Body and I hate saying the terms body and soul, but like body and soul together. We don't think nor Lush or nor Cree. So they could be like, oh shit, this is bad. Like this
Yeah.
is like as soon as they get there, and they all have to work together or something. We don't like we don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. It could everything that Lucian had hoped and dreamed of, turns on its head and all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is not what we wanted. at all.
Mm.
And then then they have to team up with the Mighty Nine. But I'm interested to find out and see if like Caleb and Bo are going to be actually able to talk to the Somnovum once they reach the city, or since they're in this close proximity, to find out what they actually want.
I think because they're
Oh no, the
all.
stream died.
I
Oh, I
think
think we're
we're
back.
back. Yay! I'll
Yep.
stop
Okay, we're back.
bad mouthing YouTube live.
We're back. Oh, I had like a whole like I'm on one of my like Tuesday streams, or no, on the day that we missed WTS, I still like streamed.
Yep.
And I went on like an hour-long tangent about how terrible YouTube is and is awful to their
Oh.
creators and all that stuff. So, I mean, that's probably why I get throttled now so often.
I don't deal with the live aspect of YouTube, but its algorithm side.
Yeah, trash.
Get it back
YouTube,
into
you
it.
suck.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Anyway,
Fix your stuff, YouTube. But yes, so I believe it probably cut out around when we were talking about what's going to happen when they reach the city
yeah,
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was basically saying how it would be interesting if they're actually able to talk with the Somnovum, if they get close enough, and if they can find out exactly what they're doing, or wanting to accomplish.
And yeah, I think it's going to be like, I mean, the Somnovum. We're under the impression that all the consciousness has been molded into one, but there are still these distinct voices. So how much of their own identities are going to be able to come through? Are we going to be able to get to the point where it's like these specific voices you hear are the Somnovum, are the 9 original wizards? Or is it going to be more like they speak with 100 voices each? God, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm nervous to suggest it, but I'm not as certain of a Tharizdun connection anymore.
Really? Well, I guess yeah, not so much anymore, since what caused it was a psychic storm.
Unless the psychic storm is Tharizdun.
Could be.
But I'm still on board. I'm still on board because, ride or die. But I think I might die. I'm not.
Yeah, I might be dead at this point.
Yeah, because it feels like, again, like we said, this might not be the last arc. It might be one of the last major arcs, because it's taken. I don't say it's taken a long time, but like it's been going for quite some time, like 20 episodes at least.
Yeah.
So I think if there is more after this, I think having this be Tharizdun is like campaign ending.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So yeah, I don't know. And I mean, all the lore we know about Tharizdun is like he's not like he's not in the Astral Sea is the lore we know from the books, and it's just I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's time to give up on the
I don't want to.
Maybe not in this. Maybe Tharizdun still is like the overall, big bad evil guy, and he's gonna pop up after this arc is over. But yeah, I think it may be safe to say that Tharizdun is not connected to this arc.
I think also just for the fact of letting the Somnovum be its own thing, letting it be its own villain, essentially, or its own entity that is dangerous. I think, as much as I love Tharizdun and I'm all kind of like, yeah, let's go, let's get Tharizdun in here, I think it might be a disservice to this creation of Matt's to be like, oh, it was Tharizdun all along. Yeah.
Thoughts on Yusa being there? We kind of talked about a little bit about that, where it's likely that Yusa's consciousness is sort of scattered throughout the city, much like Lucian was when Lucian was trying to, investigate the city way back when. I mean, and because Lucian was able to be brought back, that's good news for Yusa. And that means Yusa might be able to be brought back at some point. But how they're going to do that, no idea. We don't even know how to stop this thing. Because the only idea I had was that the beacon, if there's a beacon in here, maybe the beacon is responsible for the coalescing of all the souls and stuff.
Yeah.
But because the way Lucian described it, it's the psychic storm shattered everyone's minds and they all reformed into, you know, an amorphous mass and became one. So, doesn't sound good.
Yeah. I feel kind of dirty for dropping the Tharizdun theory.
I feel like we've lost a aspect of ourselves. It's been our one driving theory this entire campaign.
It doesn't feel like it's pointing to it anymore.
Yeah.
I think, but it's good. You know what's fucking gonna happen? Next episode's gonna be like, Tharizdun's here. I'm like, fuck.
Yep. Damn it. As soon as we stopped talking about it and gave up on it. Yep.
Oh, Mystic Rose, I could talk an hour about my thoughts on Sprinkle being arty.
Oh, I know. I love it so much. Like seeing everyone's reaction to it was so good. So good.
I feel with myself, and I posted my reaction in the Discord. If anyone's on the Discord, don't share it around. It's unlisted. But
it's gonna go viral.
Oh God, no. But it's a lot of like what, and then furious typing in the Discord, and then like actually reacting to that.
Yeah.
Oh God, people, no.
Yeah. Yeah, Alana, go back to the drawing board. You got to work Tharizdun back into this somehow. You got to figure it out. You got to figure out how to put Tharizdun back in. Don't give up. Never give up. Never surrender.
The only connection I can think of is he is the psychic storm. He is the source of their madness.
Yeah. Could be. Could be.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Don't listen to me. I don't know anything.
I'm throwing the note sheet away. It's done. It's over.
That's actually a video idea sheet. I need to find it.
Oh God, not that one.
Yeah.
But does anyone else in chat have any other final thoughts or feelings about this? There was a lot this episode. There was a lot. I'm really interested with all this time travel stuff. I really hope we get to see that happen. Because all the time travel, like the time travel stuff in this campaign could be what guns are, you know, from like what Percy had created. Percy created guns that became a huge thing in you know, just the universe of you know, the Critical Role universe. Maybe now like time travel could then be the next big thing that gets created that, you know, becomes a norm. Well, maybe not a norm as much as like guns are, but you know, a regular thing in the upper echelons of power within the world.
100%. Yeah, and I think this is the scenario where like Matt was talking about, like with the fight with Vecna, where he had plans for if they defeat him and if they don't defeat him. This is the scenario I think of. If they don't destroy this city, there's going to have huge ramifications for the world and for C3, as opposed to if they do like stop it and they do manage to defeat it, which I think is where this kind of concept, the theory that I'm still sticking with 100% is like if they don't defeat it, there's going to be like a new age or like a new time period coming about.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. I'm going with it. Tharizdun helped the Subnovan, but it had a high cost, which led to the madness. There we go.
Yeah.
We're back. Yeah. We're back, baby.
Yeah, the psychic storm was the price they had to pay for, you know, asking for Tharizdun's help. Yeah.
We're back.
That's it. We made it. We're back on track. We are here. We did it.
That's the dumbest theory I've ever heard, and it's my absolute.
I feel like we have a lot of those.
It's a crumb that will bake into a beautiful loaf of bread, which I know is not how crumbs work or how baking works, but we're doing it, baby.
Yep. We've got it. Knowledge can come with a cost. Yep. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, and power always has a cost. There's always a price to be paid. Which is, again, what Caleb and Bo were talking about. Like, we have all these cool powers. Now, what what's going to happen to
Yeah,
us
and
because of it.
Lucian was bringing that up too, saying like, "I let you read my book, and
Yeah,
now I take what I'm owed, essentially."
yeah. Oh, jeez. That's not good. It also doesn't help that, yeah, they're running at like half power ish in terms of
Oh,
at least
I
like
hate
HP
it.
and stuff.
They're so low. They're like half spells. They don't have
Yeah.
a hero's feast.
No, this is not good.
It's real not good.
Yeah. Could we see? Because they can't fight the city. They can't
Start
fight
stabbing
it.
it.
I mean, maybe they could. So the only fight that could happen is between the party
Oh,
and Lucian.
Yash is at 14 HP right now.
Yeah, yeah. Ashley
To be
mentioned
fair,
how she's
she's
at
the one
14.
we're least concerned about because she
True.
can't
She's
die.
rage. But
But I think she's
if she gets
low
like
on rage.
stunned or if she gets mind controlled or something, yeah, it could just be, yeah, not good. This isn't good. None of it's good. It's all terrifying. And next up, like, there's no delaying anymore. There's no stalling. Next episode. Next episode, we get it. Like we kept being like, oh no, it's gonna be another dungeon crawl. Like, nah, it's gonna be next. Nah, it's probably gonna be next episode. Nah, here we are. Here we are. It's the same thing we had with TravelerCon. We're like, oh no, TravelerCon's gonna be next episode. It's gonna be next episode. Then it finally happened.
Jesus.
The same situation.
I'm so stressed. I'm
Yep,
just so stressed about this.
we're here. Abandon all hope. Oh, sheepwood.
Oh god.
Oh, long rest though. This is like the running episodes all over. Oh yeah, yeah, true. No rest. Oh, that's true, Liger Lord. Next up, yeah, they're gonna do a shop. It's gonna be a shopping episode
I
in
love that.
in the
That was
Cognos
amazing.
Award. Yep, I'm here
Get
for
all
that.
those
I hope
lovely
that's what it is actually.
high fashion.
Yep, they're gonna meet a
Do
whole
you,
slew of interesting NPCs.
ooh, what if we see some stasis bubbles in the Cognos Award? Like
Oh,
some, because I mean we've got the Somnovan, but that doesn't mean they're the only wizards in the Cognos Award.
yeah.
What if we see people that like when it went to the Astral Sea were like, nope, and they managed to like, you know,
Huh.
save themselves? Or do you think you just would have seeped in somehow?
Maybe, but even if they are still in the time bubbles, they still don't know how to get them out.
Yeah, true.
So
Very
it wouldn't
true.
really be too helpful, but it would be cool. Would be cool.
Hmm. Oh
Here
my
for that.
god. Oh my god.
I feel
hate it.
I think a mind control on Caleb or Bo is coming. I feel like
I
that may
think
be the
there's
price
some
to pay.
of agency. Yeah.
Yeah. They might need multiple because if there's 9 Somnovum, they might need like 9. But then if they needed 9, why aren't they corrupting the rest of the party as well? Unless they have to read the
They
book. But then like the book, like, oh
I like I said, this is the thing where like we know nothing. Like we know about the city and how it got there and who's a part of it and all this, but we don't know anything about this city. Like we know that it's hungry and that's
mhm.
it. We don't know what its goals are. We don't know if it has goals. We don't know if it has personality. We don't know if it has any kind of logical sense to it. We just know what it once was, how it got here, and what it's doing, which seems to be eating and hunting. So we don't know what to expect with this city once they get there.
Yeah. Adair and Chad says, I think Charlie's going to come back with help. What if we do get like a on your left moment where like the party is
Oh
facing the
my
city
god.
and like all hope is is gone and like they're about to lose and all of a sudden the portal opens up and just an army of like Zevexian followed by maybe other Warforged, maybe other resurrected or revived like mages from the
That
Aeolian
would
times
actually
come through to help stop it.
be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Because Devexian does know where they're going and what they were looking for. I think. They know they were looking for the Immensus Gate.
Yeah.
So yeah, they would just have to see, oh, the last portal that was open was the Astral Seal. Let's open it up and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could be cool. That would be cool seeing like a whole
That cool bit for campaign 3, like the fact that, not a new age, whatever, everything's fine a few, like, however many years after campaign 2
Yeah.
or whatever they want to do. But in Exandria now, there is this small society of ancient mages who are seemingly not necessarily evil, but like what if Athedane's there, like this ancient powerful mage,
Mm-hmm.
not okay, not even ancient himself. I mean, we don't know if he was human or an elf, but frozen in time doesn't necessarily mean he himself is ancient. He's just from a different time.
Yeah.
It's like a small little commune of super powerful mages are now existing somewhere in the world, almost like refugees.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be exciting.
Oh, now I want that. Now I want it.
Yeah.
I want it.
Oh man.
And I do hope they somehow are able to save Yusa, our favorite dumbass gold dragon.
I think they have to.
They need to save him just so they can call him a dumbass for
so
wanting
that
to
he and
investigate
Essie
it.
can interact.
Oh yeah, true. True. And we just need full confirmation that Yusa is a gold dragon.
Oh, I swear. If nothing else happens this campaign, please.
Yeah. Please at least allow that to be correct.
Or it's going to be like we never get the confirmation and like it's never revealed, and we'll get to the end of the campaign talks and they'll be like, so Yusa, what's the deal with him? And that's like, oh yeah, he was a gold dragon.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god.
So casually, like, but it wasn't important. Because it might not be important.
Yeah, and so far it really hasn't been, important.
It's just kind of cool.
Yeah, I just need to know. I want to know. I want to know. My goodness. Oh my goodness. Do we have any other closing thoughts, feelings, emotions, concern? I mean,
In the words of Shadowgast, it's complicated.
Oh yes, indeed, it is. It is very complicated.
Lots of feelings. Like I said, I didn't think there would be anything that could get me off the Therazun train, but these conflicted feelings I'm having, I don't know.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But next episode, we're in it. We're in the thick of it now. There is no delay. There is nothing that can distract them now. The city's in front of them. They know what they got to do.
That's true. They're currently in the Astral Sea with a sheep.
That's true. But
there's also... Oh, no, it's fine.
There's so much. There's so much.
I do, before we finish up, I do want to give a shout out.
Yes.
To Personality. If you've ever seen Sirs, I tried to make sure I pronounce this correctly, but I think it's Sirs. Yes, Sirs. Personality. He's an incredible critter artist, and we've had some of their art on the show before. And she's also in the Discord on occasion. But I got this incredible print.
It's so good.
It's going to do the reflection thing. Got this incredible print. It's possibly one of my favorite pieces of Critical Role fan art. If you like this kind of Aeorian horror, the concept of like city and just what that looks like and what that means, go check out Sir's stuff. It is so good, and I cannot wait to frame.
Yeah, I remember when you picked that fan art for one of the episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think I've had a few of their fan art, but I'm gonna link their Twitter in the chat as well.
Yeah, please do. That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Yeah, so
I love having cosmic horror on my walls.
Oh. Yeah. Cosmic horror is definitely one of my favorite genres of genres.
Yeah.
Very, very good. But yeah, if that's all we've got, then I think we can go ahead and call this one a wrap. We gotta cut it off at some point. This episode is one of those episodes where you could go
Yeah.
on and on and on,
We did
especially with the
say-
time travel stuff. Oh,
We did say, like, at the start of this, like, we'll keep it succinct, which I think we did a really good job of
yeah,
us talking about the episode. But honestly, yeah, I could keep going for
Yeah.
another hour and a half.
I love the time travel stuff. I want to see more of it. It's so interesting. Especially because I want to see more of Caleb's stuff and what he wants to do, and so now it's in front of him. Can't wait to see what he does with it.
So exciting.
Oh yeah. But with all of that being said, we can go ahead and wrap this sucker on up. As always, thank you all so much for joining us in the live chat. It is always such a pleasure chatting with you all. And thank you to everyone who's going to be watching the VOD of this on YouTube or listening to this in audio format on Spotify, Anchor, or wherever else it may find itself. I have no idea anymore, honestly, at this point.
Dark web.
Yeah, on the dark web. Yep. Specifically on the dark web. That's where, we go into our super radical tinfoil hat theories.
That's our after show.
Yep, yeah, after dark, the dark web.
Yeah.
Super good. But yes, so thank you all so much for joining us again. No Hit Dice Heroes this weekend. Make sure to follow us on Hit Dice Heroes on Twitter and stuff for when we will be going live next.
Please do
For that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, super excited for when we're able to come back to that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so again, thank you all for joining us today. Don't forget to love each other, but most importantly, do not forget to love yourself. That is very important. You are important. You matter. You are loved, as always. Make sure to take care of yourself. Hydrate. Drink food. Drink water. Eat food. Rest up. You could, I guess you could, yeah. We'll throw soup in there. We'll throw soup in there as the eating.
Soup or is it?
Is cereal okay? But is cereal a soup, or is cereal just like cereal?
Oh no, but it's a suspension. It's less of mixture. It's a suspension of a solid in a liquid.
Oh, okay.
So it's more of a stew, if anything.
Okay, yeah, I'll the middle ground of it being a stew. I can subscribe to that train of thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's gonna do it for us here. Check out our next podcast where we talk about cereals and all that stuff, coming soon to a theater near you. But until then, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful rest of your morning, day, evening, wherever you may be on this glorious earth. And we will see you all very soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.